All right. Good morning. This is Matt Murphy with C Incorporated. We're here to do our podcast today with Richard Ennis of Ennis Electric. He's been one of our longtime clients and a good friend of mine in safety for a long, long time. We were just talking about that since probably '98, so it's been a minute or two. So the session we want to start off with is clients that get it, right? Clients that understand the safety process. So tell us a little bit about you and your role at Ennis.
I've been in safety since 1998, so that's a couple years of safety. I started off as an apprentice, came through the apprenticeship program, and then went to I think it was construction site safety technician class back at ABC.
Yeah, the CSST from the NCCER, yeah.
That was a while ago.
That was.
Other than that, I've been doing safety ever since.
Okay.
Trying to keep these guys safe and going home the same way they show up every morning. So,
and I can't help
my goal.
But notice your name's Richard Ennis, and it's called Ennis Electric. So what's that part of the deal like?
It just puts a little bit more emphasis on caring for the employees, I guess.
Okay.
I have nieces and nephews that work for the company. I have friends, family, cousins. So I mean, it's definitely a family business, and I want to make sure these guys go home the same as they came. So I think that the whole ownership versus being a safety guy is just a matter of caring and put a little bit more emphasis on it.
I gotcha. And yeah, Richard is not only the safety guy, but again, he's an owner. So he gets to bring a few different perspectives for us. So if you don't mind, we'll just kind of get into it a little bit.
All right.
Perfect.
Let's do it.
So how long did it take you to get your program to the level you're at now?
We've been in business for 48 years, so I'm going to say it's 48 years.
Okay.
It's a never-ending process. Things change every day, and rules change, regulations change, and we have to change with it. So
sure,
we're ever improving every day.
Good, and that's kind of something that we've always liked about dealing with Richard and his guys is we come in to do classes and stuff. It's just a different ball game. It's not, oh my God, I came here for safety. It's really they want to learn, they want to be part of the program. And I can tell you, back in say 98, 99, when after the CSST and just sitting on the ABC safety committee and stuff with you were having some problems that you don't really have as much anymore. It's, you were still chasing people wearing hard hats, and you were still chasing, what's a glove policy and stuff like that.
Yeah. Back in those days, I mean, there weren't too many guys that wore hard hats on the job.
Right.
Definitely didn't wear gloves. Struggled, to wear glasses. Definitely things have changed there.
Yeah. So
when I started in the trade, it was shorts, t-shirt, tennis shoes.
Yeah.
So, no more of that.
And we just talked this past holiday, I guess it was toward the end of the year of last year, we were talking about a site that you walked in on. I don't know if you remember the story, but you walked in, you saw a guy go up, I think he was on a ladder rung or something like that, and you were getting ready to head that way, and one of your other people stepped in and talked to him, and that speaks volumes to his program. His people are policing themselves. They're understanding that safety is a big issue and whatnot. So that's kind of why we're here talking to him. That's for sure. So what are maybe 2 or 3 keys that you would say are keys to your success for your ongoing safety efforts?
I think one of the biggest things is just making sure you provide your employees with everything they need, the right tools, the right equipment, the right PPE. I mean, if you set them up for success, it's, just makes it that much easier. If they have everything they need to do the job correctly, it's easier for them to follow the rules and to take safety seriously.
So what are maybe 2 or 3 keys of your success for your safety program over the years?
I think the biggest key to success is just making sure that the employees have everything they need, for success, whether it's the right tools to do the job, the correct PPE, the proper training. As long as you provide that stuff, those guys are going to be successful. They're going to do the right things. So, I mean, that's probably the biggest thing.
Right.
But some other success is probably training every day. We started not too long ago, a couple years ago, we started doing daily toolbox talk. We call them ORMs, but toolbox talks in the morning to get them started, get them thinking about safety.
So a lot of companies do it once a week. You guys are doing it daily.
So we do it daily, and we also do it weekly.
Okay.
But the ORMs just get them there, just thinking about what their task is for that day, and the tools that they're going to need, and do they have to get into a confined space where they need other PPE. So I mean, we try to make sure they have everything out there to be successful for the day.
Good. Okay.
So seems to be working.
Good. So number one, obviously, set them up for success. Make sure they're properly equipped. And number two, train them.
Yep.
Keep that training going.
Train.
Yeah. I know one thing that we've done with you over the past is you set up schedules of training. Like, you don't think about, hey, I need a training class and it needed to happen last Friday, and can you do it this Saturday? You're pretty big on, let's look ahead and say, I'm going to need 3 classes on X because I can't put all my employees in there.
Right. So yeah, we set up the monthly training, and it'll be set up maybe for this month we're going to do fall protection, but then all of a sudden we have a confined space job. So I'll call Elliot. I got to change it to confined space and not fall protection.
Right.
But we have it set up monthly, to keep these guys they know they got to come in every once a month, and they expect a training. But we do try to gear the training around what is the hot topic at the moment.
Do you find one day is better than the other for training? Do you try to have a set day that I want trainings on X?
So we do them on Thursdays.
Okay.
Pretty much. It's not the Monday blues when you come in from a long weekend. It's not, hey, it's Friday, so it's just right there in the middle. It used to be back in the day when paychecks were handed out, they were on Thursdays. So,
right.
Hey, while you're here, you get some training, pick up your paycheck. But
right.
So it's always been Thursdays for us.
Okay.
But if I need training on another day, we'll train on another day. But
sure.
Yes, Thursdays is normally our day.
Cool. Very cool. Give me an example of how you think your safety program is working. Is there some kind of story samples? Is there something in your head where you go, man, I think my program's starting to work, and why?
Well, one of the most recent is about, I don't know, it's been 6 or 7 years ago now. We entered into a captive insurance program.
Okay.
So you actually have to qualify to get into a captive insurance program. So little things like that lead me to believe that we're doing something right. Because we actually qualified. But the biggest thing, as far as I'm concerned, as far as how my program's working, is I have employees come to me now and say, hey, man, we have this safety issue on the job. Here's how we can fix it. It's like, wow. They're bringing the safety information to us, and they're kind of doing it on their own. They're making the job safe. So that tells me I think we're a little bit successful there, just because of having people in the field that doing it for themselves.
Sure. And let's back up for 1 second. That captive program, that's a self-insured fund. So basically you're in with a lot of different owners, and you all are pitching your money into one pile.
Right.
So when you go to that captive meeting and you have accidents, all those other owners are going, basically, why are you taking my money, right? So there's a little bit of peer pressure as well on those.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
How many times did it take you before you got into the captive?
We got in on our first, the first time trying, we got in, but it's a living program, and you got to keep your stuff up to date, because they do come after you. They do process or check on you, and make sure you're doing the right things.
Yeah, you've got to step up big if you're going to be in self-insured, because it's your money and it's their money on the line. So yeah, for sure.
We get points for you're on a point system where you have to go to their classes, you have to do their monthly meetings, you have to be involved. You can't just join and just leave. You have to be involved in it. So.
And a lot of those have a certain amount of money that you have to spend on your safety program, and people just don't understand that. And then they end up losing that money. So it's very important, if you are part of a captive, to know what your budget is and spend that money on your safety program, because if not, you're kind of wasting those dollars, right?
Yeah, definitely.
All right. What are some of the struggles you've had maybe early on with your safety program?
Just like everybody else's struggles, you get the one guy that's like, hey, I've done this a million times. Done it a million times, never got hurt. It's like, well, there's always that 1,000,001 time where something does happen, and it could be a minor accident, it could be a huge catastrophe. That just doesn't work for us anymore. I've done it a million times. I don't care if you've done it a million times without wearing gloves or glasses or lockout, tag out. those days are over for being cowboys. So,
Oh yeah, for sure.
That's probably my biggest one. One of the other struggles might be your newer employees. You know, we get a lot of guys fresh out of school, and they don't know any better.
Right.
We haven't had time to teach them yet. So I mean, we make sure those guys are. We have a blue hard hat program. So when you first get hired, you're in a blue hard hat. This helps the electricians and the longer term guys know what they're dealing with, and know that they got to take extra care with these guys and teach them and make sure they're doing the right things and look out for them.
Very good.
So, but yeah, those are probably the two of the biggest things, I would say.
I think right now the hiring process is huge for everybody, right? I mean, nobody can find people to work. That's a big struggle.
It's tough, yeah. I mean, there's not a lot of good quality people looking for work right now. Because I mean, if you need a job right now, you should have one. Because
Right.
there's definitely people hurting all over, especially in the electrical trade and any trade.
Any trade.
But yeah.
Yeah, I know people in the brewing business that can't find people to brew beer, and they get to drink. I mean, come on.
Yeah, you should be able to figure that one out, right?
Good.
Don't tell anybody that, man. I don't want to lose any more electricians. Work for breweries.
Yeah. As an owner, how do you see safety benefit or affect your company overall and your bottom line?
Well, I mean, safety, it's, the better your safety program, maybe the less incidents, less accidents, which is, that equals revenue as far as, or not losing revenue. So that's probably one thing. Being in the captive insurance program, that's something else.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a lot of, we get several jobs or get invites to bid several jobs because of our safety program. There's companies out there working for some of these owners that they won't accept you if you don't have a very decent safety program. So we get those invites. So
Yeah.
I mean, there's.
So your pond's bigger to fish from, right?
There you go.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're not pigeonholed.
And it when it's a little bigger to fish from, but then it's also you're not out there with as many people. There's not as many qualified people that can bid on that job, so it makes it even better.
Sure.
So
safety. Can you say you can see how safety makes you money?
yeah, definitely.
Okay.
But I can also see where if it could take away a lot of money too.
Yeah.
So you definitely got to keep it up. That's for sure.
For sure. Good. Does your company budget for safety? Do they do it by job? Is it overall like a big line item? I mean, how do you budget for safety?
So I've always wondered this because when we're doing qualifying reports for GCs, or if we're doing like the ABC Steph Awards, they have the questionnaire. It always asks about your budget for safety. And to me, that's kind of a weird question because we don't have a budget for safety.
Okay.
If we need something out there to protect these guys, confined space equipment, lockout, tag out, special fall protection, I mean, we make sure these guys have it. So, I mean, I wouldn't say that there's a budget per se, because if we need it, we're going to get it to make sure these guys, can work as safe as possible. So I've never really understood the whole budget question as far as, do you have a budget for it? The answer is no.
Okay.
If we need it, we're going to get it.
Okay. I gotcha. Good deal there. I have a lot of clients that kind of go, well, how do I answer that? Like, I need a lot of training this year. I may not need it next year. I'm like, well, there's a certain basis of safety, I think, that you budget for, like some of your training and stuff. But yeah, I get it. Like if you did, I have certain owners, and it's usually the owners that get it that always say, if you do the right thing, the money will come, right? And that's kind of how you guys do it. You guys are very much like, we know what we're bidding, and we're going to do it right from the get-go, so the money will get there. So that's kind of...
There's always that question. It's like, man, safety's so expensive. I need this, I need this, I need this to do a job. But if you sit back and you look at it before you get out there and do the work, and you see, okay, well, we're going to have, we're going to need this fall protection item on this job. It doesn't cost as much money as you think, because now it's already in your mindset. Now you're just doing it. You don't have to go out and do it last minute where, we've already come to this point, and now we need to go out and get all this stuff to do this task. Well, if you look ahead, that stuff's going to be there, and So it's going to save you money in the long run instead of costing you money.
Sure, same thing. You got a certain amount of wire you got to pull, right? So you got to buy it.
Yeah, and an injury, all the money that you're saving, you take one injury, you just lost it.
Oh yeah.
Quickly.
Yes.
So it's definitely there.
So with your safety training, what benefits are you seeing from your safety training? What
education of our foremen, and not just our foremen, our electricians, our apprentices. The working safer, working smarter, right? So yeah, I mean that's a huge benefit from the training. I mean, is these guys go home less injuries, less incidents, less accidents. I mean, those are all positive things as far as sure. But safety training.
I know one thing you were talking about was like when your foremen come in from different jobs, they get to share their experiences and they can kind of learn from each other.
Yeah, when we do our monthly safety training, 1 month it's all of our foremen.
Sure.
Or 1 month it's it kind of switches, but when those foremen come in, they talk about their experiences on each other's jobs and kind of bring it back, and then the instructor. I think a lot of times we have our instructor, we have Elliot. Elliot always has stories that he brings in. So these guys sharing stories with how it works out on the job site is just another huge point of, hey, this is how we did it.
Sure.
And takes it back and forth to each other, which is always a good thing.
Yeah, very much so. And obviously you guys do your dailies, so you definitely see benefit from training because your dailies are, again, bringing everybody to that baseline, reminding them what the hazards are, right?
Yep. What is the hazard for the day? What tool we're going to be using? Is that a hazard? Are we working in a confined space? We're doing this, but it's and we're getting we force our guys. I wouldn't say we force them, but when we do our daily ORMs, they kind of make sure everybody out in there that's part of that is contributing at some point. So, you hate to be the guy, you want to go through the safety training because you want to know what you can say in the daily ORM to kind of help out, because you don't want to be the guy standing in the back where everybody's going to pick on you. Like, wait, what did you learn? Right? You got to speak in the front. So they like to take that education so they can learn. That's one of the things I tell them when they come in and do this class is like, hey, man, tomorrow morning I want to see something about this class in that daily ORM, something that you learned.
Good.
So,
yeah, that's great. How do you know what safety needs you have? How do you pick your topics? How do you budget your time?
Well, I mean, job look aheads. When a job starts up, for instance, the foreman, the project manager, the safety guy, we all kind of meet and figure out, what's coming up on this job. What is going to be an issue that we're going to have on this job? Most of the time, starting off, it's going to be trenching and excavation. So we've got to make sure we have the training. But a lot of times it's just what's coming up on the job.
Okay.
Looking ahead.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, OSHA also tells us what we need to train on and what we don't need to train on. So
I don't think they just say much about what not to train on.
Yeah.
Hey, this is coffee, or tea. Train on it.
Is that in the SDS?
Yes. What's your SDS on that? That's for sure.
And then also, tools and equipment we're using.
Do all of you said you do weekly toolbox talks as well. Do you pick one topic and everybody goes across that, or is it kind of up to the person on the job to change it up?
So I basically send out one topic every week. And then a lot of times if we've had an accident, we'll have a cut or something, I'll send out something targeting that week.
Okay.
So if everything's running smooth, then, we gear the topic on kind of what's next in line.
Sure.
But if it's something that, I don't send out heat stress, in December. So we do kind of look ahead a little bit,
but what have you found that makes training stick?
Continuing education. I mean, train and train.
Consistency.
Yeah, I mean, whether it's your daily ORMs, whether it's your weekly safety meetings, whether it's your monthly safety classes that we have here. I mean, you just got to keep everybody aware and up to date of what's going on and what's changed. And so, I mean, you make it stick by just keep pushing it.
Sure.
Keep pushing it.
I think you hit on a good point earlier about using those war stories. We call them war stories, but it's the things that happen in the field, right? The things that happen in action. Great, OSHA says this, but when this happened on this site, this is what happened. Learning from
Yeah.
that, I think, really helps too.
Oh yeah,
What about you?
no doubt.
Yeah,
But I mean, it's the more that goes out, the more they think about it, the more that we reiterate the safety.
sure,
It definitely sticks.
sure. Great. You work for a ton of different GCs out there. How do you keep all of your employees up to date with what their requirements are, right? Because it's not just the OSHA requirements we have to worry about. It's also, like you said, some of these GCs, some of these owners.
But working with a lot of these GCs and owners actually, makes it a little better because they are a little bit. Majority of them are a little bit more stringent than OSHA, which there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, OSHA is kind of the baseline.
Right.
Over the years, basically, we've kind of adopted the most stringent of the safety rules out there for all these guys. So, hard hats, gloves, glasses, high vis. So we've always just kind of adopted all of them. So,
Sure.
when you get out on a job, our biggest problem right now is, the glove policy. Some guys have cut 3, some are cut 4.
Sure.
So it all depends on. So that's our biggest thing, and if that's all we have to worry about, we're good. So
Yeah, that's for sure.
But yeah, I mean, we've adopted where we're 100% hard hat, 100% eyewear, 100% gloves.
Are you guys switching over to the helmets at all?
We are. We're
Okay.
kind of in the process now of making the change.
We have a ton of tech work going on in this area, and a lot of the tech owners, they require chin straps or helmets rather than just the safety hard hats. So yeah, we're seeing that be a little bit of a. You go from a $16 hard hat or a $20 hard hat to a $100, $120, $150 helmet. It gets a little spicy.
Yeah, and again, it's that one's being pushed by the GCs, so we're making that switch. It's not a bad thing,
Sure.
but
Sure.
sometimes they're a little lighter, a little bit more comfortable,
Maybe. Yeah. Okay.
pretty stylish.
Yeah. Makes you go out and ready to play hockey, right?
Yeah.
There you go. Do you ever use safety as a sales point to GCs?
Yes, I mean you have to. I mean, we do pre-quals for all these GCs, and our safety is the reason why we were able to get some of these jobs. I mean, you definitely have to qualify, to work for a lot of these
Sure.
guys. So the real answer would be yeah, for sure. I mean, you have to push that we have a good safety program,
Sure.
or you're just not going to get accepted to do any work for them.
I mean, a lot of these guys catch you right off with your EMR, right? That's a lagging indicator. So an EMR, experience modification rate, that looks back 2, 3, and 4 years ago, and what were your losses then? So you have to carry this consistency for a long period of time to keep that EMR down to shop some of those.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. I mean, a lot of times it was always that number was 1. If you had a 1 or more, you're not doing work for a lot of these guys. So
Not without a lot of explanation.
Exactly.
So, yeah. I mean, again, the reason I wanted to bring Richard in is because I've watched his program grow over the years. Again, when Elliot usually gets seniority, so he pushes to train their classes a lot because we like training people who want to be trained, right? As a trainer, you come into a classroom and everybody's kind of looking at outside or looking at the watch or drifting off. That's tough, but Richard's people have always been very engaged, very well receptive to the training and stuff like that, and it shows. We go out to the job site. It can be a little bit of chaos out there. If it's one of their job sites, you still see their guys wearing all the PPE. You see all their guys right, and we've had issues before where a GC or even OSHA were out on a job site. They see those guys working. They're like, we don't need to talk to them. They know what they're doing. We need to deal with X, Y, and Z because they're working dangerous at heights and whatnot. So I think it really shows. You put a ton of work in, and it's kind of hard wearing those hats, right? Being the owner and the safety person. That's
and these guys, my guys make it easy for me. I mean, they bought into it. They participate in it. They're pretty passionate about it. Working safely. So they make it pretty easy on me. So.
I think a lot of owners say that, but it really comes from ownership. It really comes from the top. You guys have to prove it every day and walk the walk, and you and your brother and a lot of other people in this company do that. So that's excellent. So definitely want to commend you on that, and thank you for coming out and talking. Or coming out, I came to you
Yeah,
Thanks for having us
coming
out. Yeah. I don't mind the drive. Come out and chat with you about this because we've got a ton of clients and they're at all different levels. I'm not saying you're the only one that gets it. We've obviously got a bunch that do, but we have some that are just getting into safety and they're not quite sure how to navigate the water. So I think a lot of your information will help them. So I appreciate that.
Yeah, man, I appreciate you coming out.
Yeah, for
Fun
sure.
times.
All right, good deal. We'll see you for the next session.
There you go.
All right.